time is now.
Newcastle United latest news talk.
With talkSPORT's Jet Cunningham, live, weekly, on NUFC Talk TV, the voice of the Toon Army.
Slapping, welcome. Gaz, welcome. Geordie Dan, welcome. And well, thank you all for tuning in. It's all great to have you all on. And well, yeah, as I say, we'll look at the Wolves and obviously just keep getting other questions in as well. And we will talk all things Newcastle for the next hour and a half. I am in my bedroom today. The dining room is out of service, so I am in my bedroom. And if anyone has seen any of my talkSPORT appearances, they will know that this is the bedroom that Jimmy O'Hara and Jason Cundy take the mick out of all of them because of the bed sheets. So any comments on them? No problem at all. I've heard it all before. But yes, good to see a few other faces who have been on all the shows so far. Really appreciate you all, and it's great to have you all on, interacting with me and talking all things Newcastle United. And as I said, going to be me looking at the Wolves, but of course we'll touch on anything else that anyone else also wants to talk about across the sort of next hour and a half. I'll be at 2:30 this afternoon. Really looking forward to it. It's good to see some familiar faces back in as well. Kenny, Cundy is not in my bedroom. They just take the mick out of my bedroom from the studio, okay? So it's not in my bedroom, all right? That is funny, though. I like that. That is funny. I rate it. No, yeah, so basically, Wolves coming up. Yes, there we go. Slap in. Jimmy R's no, Gaz. You know what? He's a good lad. He's a good lad. I enjoy working with him. The B&M bed sheets. Yeah, fair enough. And goody gumdrop. Nice to have you on as well. Nice duvet set. Yeah, this is where I am. I'm going to be based for today's show. But as I say, really looking forward to getting into it. Looking ahead to Wolves. Injury news, of course, we kind of know. Oh, look, Gaz, I understand, but I think, he also whenever I talk to Newcastle with him, he's always fair with us as well. So, I totally get it, to be fair. So, yeah. That's absolutely fine. Everyone's got their own opinion of him as well. And Trey Stevens, hope all as well. I checked our spot out, and I think it's time for us to be questioning our recruitment. Oh, I did see you did. Sorry, you did comment on the latest Inside the Toon. Also, Kenny, I saw you commented as well. Really appreciate that, lads. watching it. I really appreciate that as well. So, yeah, that's great. And look, we will 100% talk about recruitment because I think it is really important. It's such an important point as well. And Jordan must turn to Lawrence Wellenbow and say now bland. Very funny. I enjoy this a lot. Yeah, so Wolves coming up next in the Premier League. Now, Wolves have actually turned a little bit of a corner. They're unbeaten in 3. So they have drawn 1-1 with Manchester United. They thrashed West Ham 3-0 and they drew 1-1 with Everton. Everton went down to 9 men. It was near the end of the game. I'm not going to blame Wolves for not winning that one. I thought against Manchester United, they played very well, actually, and probably should have won. They were much better than we were when we went to Old Trafford. And I think when I saw they were playing West Ham and they hadn't won a game yet, I kind of felt as if that was going to be their first win. It's classic West Ham, certainly this season. They rock up, a game like that, they think they're too good for it, and they get turned over. And Robert Edwards is not going to save Wolves. They are going to go down. Looks like they are going to avoid probably being the worst team in Premier League history, though. So Derby still going to have that record. And of course, we all know that Derby took 4 points off us. Yeah, I know. I still find that absolutely incredible. They got 11 points and they got 4 points off Newcastle. It sums up Newcastle. I think even this Newcastle would still find some way to do it. But that was also typical Mike Ashley Newcastle, wasn't it? Let's be fair. So that's where we are with Wolves. I've been impressed with how they have done, to be fair, so far. You've got to look at the fact they have changed to a back 3. They are... Yeah, so changed to a back 3. And they have, as I picked up a little bit, they've picked up a little bit, and they look better. They look a lot better than they did any other point this season. I thought even when we played them at St James's Park, we won 1-0. It probably should have been a lot more comfortable than that in the end. But look, it was 1-0, and we take it, and we won. So I just think that this is an opportunity for Newcastle here to move on to 35 points, just over midway through the season. And we should be going there and winning and then setting us up for a big week. Yeah, no, I totally agree. Yeah, look, our away form, yeah, and that is why I'm saying, like, our away form. Afternoon, Darren, nice to have you on. Thank you for tuning in once more. As I said, this is going to be 2 times a week. It'll be varying each time. It all depends on my work schedule, but it'll be 2 times a week. And then also most weeks I'll be bringing you a journal insight as well. And this is the thing. And as we're going to preview Wolves mainly, I've seen some things about recruitment as well. Look, that is going to be an ongoing thing until some certain players start showing some form. So I do feel as if we're going to have to, but that's going to have to improve. We're going to have to discuss that. We are 100% going to need to discuss this. So we need to save legs for the Still bad dad says we need to save legs for the PSV game. Little worried for the game. Yeah, I think we have every right to be worried about this Wolves game. As I said, they've turned it around. Oh, thank you, Darren. Thank you very much. Really appreciate that. Yeah. I don't know if that was the show or if it was maybe just one of the videos I was on or whatever. But really appreciate that. It's great. And Kenny saying West Ham linked with Lascelles Willock to Leeds. I've not seen that, to be fair, but Lascelles has sort of just disappeared off the face of the earth. And when Eddie Howe was asked about it, he sort of said he's feeling physically fit, but there was no. But they said he's not injured. So are they just maybe trying to move him on? I've got to be honest. I think with Lascelles, I would actually just keep him to the summer because I want him to get his testimonial. I think Lascelles has been nothing but a loyal servant to Newcastle United all the way back in the days of 2015-16 season after Southampton. And we went down anyway, but it looked like we were 100% going down without a fight. And Lascelles came out and called the players out as a young centre-back. And then scored in the next game against Swansea. We won 3-0 and we had a bit of hope. And then, of course, we drew Aston Villa 0-0. And then Everton turned up at the stadium line and got hammered and we went down. But then Lascelles captained us to promotion. The start of the 2017-18 season, he was brilliant. Scored some massive goals away at Swansea, away at Stoke as well. Not away at Stoke, that was at home to Stoke, but he did score 8 of those games. I thought that season Lascelles was top draw, and I really thought he actually should have got in the England squad, to be honest, for that 2018 World Cup. Him and John Joe Shelvey, I felt were really unfortunate to miss out on the England squad. And then Lascelles 2018-19 wasn't as good. I thought he had some decent games under Steve Bruce, probably one of our better defenders under Steve Bruce. One of the ones who didn't actually get Bruce entirely, but we've all heard stories about him on the training ground, having numerous arguments with Bruce and other players as well. And he's a standard setter. And look, under Eddie Howe, he's not played a lot, but we then forget. But then we got to remember he played against PSG when Newcastle played PSG in the Champions League. Who can ever remember? Who can forget that? Played against PSG and rocked up and beat them 4-1. Lascelles played every minute of that game and was absolutely rock solid. I think that we're at the point now where it's a bit we're not going to get much money for him. He's had the ACL injury. He's not at the same level as he was. So I would just keep him to the summer just to then give him his testimonial. He deserves that. I think we shouldn't forget the role Lascelles played in Newcastle being here. And Eddie Howe always speaks about how important he is in the dressing room. So I know, look, a trait, you know what, fair enough. I totally appreciate that you would like him to go. You'd like him to move on. You'd like Willock to move on. You'd like Murphy, Gillespie, Ruddy, and Asula. Yeah, look, I get that some of these players are going to have to go. I'd be open to selling Joe Willock. Definitely this transfer window. I think Jacob Murphy is actually the best right winger, so I don't think it can be selling him. Gillespie needs to stay for the homegrown quota. John Ruddy, yeah, fair enough. Don't really see why he's there. Asula, I think, has got value. And Target, unless you're going to recall him. Yeah, unless you're going to recall him, then I feel as if it's a bit pointless and you probably should try and sell him. Yeah, exactly, Kenny. Yeah, Bruno. Yeah, that's the thing. Lascelles was part of the trophy lift. In fact, they made sure he was part of the trophy lift because they know how much of a leader in the dressing room he is. So, yeah, I have a lot of respect for Jamal Lascelles, and I think that although you could argue, yes, he's taken up a squad place, that there are other places in the squad that we could sort of chop and change and remove out the squad. I mean, I'm sure he's at the point now where he's played for so long at Newcastle that he probably doesn't actually want to leave until maybe the summer. And that's an interesting one I saw about Bruno and Real Madrid. Oh, well, this is that's from Ed Bird. Welcome as well. So anyone read about Real Madrid wanting Bruno? It's not a surprise if they do want Bruno Guimaraes. You know, we're talking about an unbelievable Premier League, Champions League level midfielder who's gone to another level this season. You won't be surprised. There was an interesting one actually from my colleague, which is here about, this is from Goody, saying about Tonali is off, Livramento going to go, Asula and Willock. Yeah, I think there will be a massive overhaul in the summer. I think it'll be the biggest change of playing personnel since the takeover, I think. So And Tonali, interesting. So from my colleague, again, talkSPORT Ben Jacobs, he understands that in the summer, there is likely to be interest from top European teams. In Tonali, Real Madrid have actually registered interest, Bayern Munich as well, and of course Italian teams as well. However, Tonali understands that he appreciates what Newcastle did for him. He signed a new contract till 2030 during his ban, and he is no rush to leave Tyneside. So that's the understanding from my colleague Ben Jacobs regarding Tonali's future. The fact that he is likely and almost certainly going to stay for at least one more season is basically the understanding. That there will be interest in him, but equally, that's where it is on that one. So it's a really good point. I agree with Livramento. I've said this a few times now. I think he is going. I think the fact he's not shown any willingness to sign a new contract, again, that's from my colleague Alex Crook, saying about Livramento not showing any willingness to sign a new deal. I think you're looking at the situation where, all right, it's probably is going to go. And then, yeah, there will be other players moving as well. I've seen some comments on Bruno here. So, Trey, give a new contract, keep him with the rest of the careers. So Newcastle saw a couple of rumours. I wouldn't say that they're concrete as of yet. But, yeah, and then Kenny's also saying it here as well, saying about how Bruno has reportedly been offered a new contract. This is the key thing for me now. So Bruno is 28. He has probably got one either big move left in his career or one more big contract. And the question is it going to be as a Newcastle player? Can Newcastle sign him down to another 4 or 5 year deal, keep him until he's 32, 33, and keep him for his best years? And then he goes back to Brazil, probably. Or do we have to sell him in the summer because he'll have 2 years left on his contract in the summer, and it'll be at his highest value at 28 off his best season. This will be the last time for Newcastle to cash in on Bruno Guimaraes as well. Now, for me, I do not want him to go at all, and I would be doing everything in my power to make sure that he stays, because it's not just he's so good. I think it is it's one of those where he just gets it. He just gets it, right? He understands what it is like to be a Newcastle United player. Equally, Eadbird makes a very good point. If Real Madrid come calling, I don't think there's any player in the world who is turning that down. So I don't think there's any player in the world who would turn down Real Madrid. I think they are them, Barcelona are the two teams that will never turn down. Now, this is interesting from Colton. What can we offer Bruno in FA Cup? Now, I understand this. I think that Newcastle have shown steady progress, and ultimately, with PSR the way it is, we can't spend maybe what we want to spend, and then the last summer when we did spend what we want to spend, we've probably spent it unwisely, and the problem is we're in a position where we can't do that. I still believe that the ambition for Newcastle is to become one of the best teams in the world. I don't know if it'll happen, but that is still the ambition, and that's how you got to sell it to this one. Now, Queen of the Heart has a question for me. Do I think Eddie Howe is still credit the bank, especially with all the speculation around big players like Tonali? That is a good question. I will leave it on there. I think Eddie Howe has more than enough credit in the bank. Okay? I really believe that he is someone who players want to play for, enjoy playing for. If you think of every single person who's basically worked on Eddie Howe, both present and past, they don't really have a bad word to say about Howe. And that is a testament, I think. I think that's a testament to his man management, and that's a testament to the way he treats his players and the way he works with players. Now, and I also think that's one of the reasons Tonali will stay, because he has full appreciation of what Eddie Howe has done for him. So that's what I think. I also get the view from plenty of people on here, plenty of other fans, that they think Howe has taken us as far as he can. The key thing on that is how the rest of the season goes. If they back him in January, and if they back him in January, if they don't back him in January, I mentioned this yesterday. I said that I think that's not them saying he's gone, but I think it's more of a sign of then maybe not all in as they were. So that's probably where we're at with that one, I think. That's a great question. I really appreciate it. And got some more here. Yeah, look, Colton, I see what you're saying. Steady Eddie, they on huge wages. Why would they say bad things? Well, I think that if they didn't feel, I think you would hear more stuff from the dressing room if there was problems with how they felt, how deals with them, or if they're worried about anything. If you think about Manchester United, as soon as anything starts going wrong there, leaks from the dressing room come out. If you think under Steve Bruce, the amount of leaks that were coming out of the dressing room all of the time because the players weren't happy, happens at every single club, because every single player knows how to get in contact with these journalists. They drop them a thing saying, "Can I be an anonymous source?" And then the story comes out, and then all of a sudden it's out there that certain players aren't happy. And we heard that from the Isak saga. I wouldn't say it was a split in the dressing room, but there was certainly a different feeling in the dressing room, with some players more sympathetic for Alexander Isak than others. Now, I don't think that's impacted our season at all. I think the Newcastle dressing room is fully united. So that's where I am with that one. But honestly, I totally appreciate your opinion. And Kenny on about the Real and Barcelona Spanish League. Yeah, look, I get that the league's not great, but Real Madrid and Barcelona are institutions. They're beyond football clubs. So they are proper institutions, and any single person would want to play for them. I think Manchester United were. I don't think they are anymore. I still think they beat us to a few signings in the summer, didn't they? Because they are Manchester United. So that still applies to some people. I don't think the next generation it will apply to. So the next generation of players who've grown up watching Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's Manchester United, I don't think that's going to appear. I don't think that's going to appear at all. But Barcelona and Real Madrid are Barcelona and Real Madrid, and they still win Champions League. Barcelona play some of the best football in the world at the moment again. So I think all of that contributes to it. And we've got Darren saying Klopp or Zidane. Look, I like the ambition. I don't think Klopp had ever managed in the Premier League. Again, I've got another question. I got one from Xabi Alonso. So would I take Xabi Alonso? 100% yes. And his reputation has not been damaged by this Real Madrid debacle at all. I think Real Madrid are a unique dressing room, as I said, the club as well, but a unique dressing room in the sense of they almost buy superstars, and then they just want someone to come in and manage the egos. That's why Carlo Ancelotti did well, but that's why they didn't win maybe as much as they should have done, because he couldn't get them to maybe do the extra training, the extra working. And I mean, like, it all felt like Xabi Alonso was fighting an uphill battle in that sense. I mean, we saw after the Super Copa, I don't know if anyone else saw as well, but we saw that Xabi Alonso wanted to give Barcelona a guard of honour, which is totally respectful. And Mbappe said no, and all the players of Mbappe. So that is where Xabi Alonso also had a load of injuries around Madrid. His back four was embarrassing. by most of the games that he had to play. And they still were second, and they were still going to qualify automatically for the Champions League. So he's a top manager. Now, the question is, over Xabi Alonso, is will Liverpool decide that Arne Slot, thank you for winning the Premier League, but maybe this is it? So, yeah, that's what. But again, like I don't think, I'm still Eddie in, and it'll take a lot for me to not be, because he has turned things around before. He has turned things around in the past. Now, equally, I appreciate, as Trey says here, as I just, if I can remove this one, as Trey says here, Vissa, Alanga, Ramsey and Waldemar to a certain point have been very bad recruitment, and we need to get away from overrated, overpriced Premier League proven players, and that's on Eddie. And I think in terms of recruitment, and welcome Laura as well. Hello. She thinks it'd be crazy to get rid of Howe. That's absolutely fair enough as well. I think in terms of recruitment, we're in January. We are over halfway through the season. We're at the point where we can judge the recruitment, and we have to say at the moment, Alanga is looking like potentially one of Newcastle's worst ever signings. I still am going to back him and give him time, but that's just where we are with Alanga at this moment. I think Jacob Ramsey is starting to show a lot more, and also I'm in the opinion that he's played well in most of his games, to be honest. Yes, he's not scoring goals and getting assists, but he is involved in the game all of the time. He is playing the role that Eddie Howe wants him to play. He also is getting in the box. For some reason, people aren't finding him. I mean, if you go back to the Vissa chance, hello, Hagen Christensen, nice to have you on as well. And I think we're at the point of, with Ramsey, that, look, if you go back to the Man City game, sorry, obviously the Vissa chance just scored. I saw it again. Vissa should just square it to Ramsey, and he's got an open goal. And he scores his first Newcastle goal, and then I think that'll kick him off. And who was the other players that you said? Yeah, Vissa. I'm not judging Vissa yet. I think he had a good start. It looked really lively at the beginning. And then I think he has not done as well, in fairness, in the last few games. But one thing I will say about him that you can tell, his movement is top draw. He gets into goal-scoring positions. He stretches the back line. And I think it's just a shame that he's injured and the age he is, because we need him to deliver immediately, and he's not delivering immediately. And that's what it is. Now, I see this point from Aidbird here. So we absolutely crawled over the line to get Champions League last season. The drop-off after the cup final was bonkers. Now, I've seen this before, but I am going to get stats up here, because I just think it's more remembering the last 3 games of the season, and it's not actually remembering what happened after the cup final. So I'm just going to get the stats up, because Newcastle went on a brilliant run after the cup final, and it was just the last 3 games that were a little bit disappointing. So I'm just going to get these stats up, but keep your comments rolling in. Absolutely. Yeah, I've Kenny saying there about Isak down tools. Again, I don't, and Darren saying about Isak unsettling the squad after the League Cup final. Now, I don't believe that. I really don't believe that. I think that if you look at the way Isak celebrated us getting Champions League football, I thought it was more than fair. He was never the biggest passion merchant anyway, but yes, his form maybe dropped off. His form did drop off, but I don't think he was unsettling the team, and I don't think he down tools either. There's been I feel like that's more of a smear campaign, to be honest, against Alexander Isak, because yes, we all disagree with how he went on, but equally, I don't think he down tools. I don't think any player down tools. Yes, he probably thought that getting in the Champions League would maybe make it a little bit harder. So that's fair enough. Now I'm just getting right. We're just waiting for it to load. But okay, so after the cup final, right, I've got the wrong thing up. Can I get fixtures by date? That's right. Yeah, there we go. Fixtures by date. Right. Sorry, just bear with me. I got the wrong thing up there. But yeah, keep the comments rolling in. Yeah, Kenny saying that was 6 months ago. Move on. Yeah, I think so as well. I mean, it's a shame that, as I said, I think Walton had a great start, and actually his statistics of the season are very, very good. I think he's dropped off. His performance have dropped off a little bit in the last few weeks, just looking like catching up with him just that little bit, which is frustrating in that sense. And Visser, again, I was disappointed with him against Manchester City. Very, very poor against Manchester City. Should have scored. Should have been a lot better in his all-round gameplay. Just got to hope that in the second half of the season he does do well. So, okay, so after Newcastle beat Liverpool in the cup final, we beat Brentford 2-1. We beat Leicester 3-0. We beat Manchester United 4-1. We beat Palace 5-0. So that's 4 wins in a row. We then lost 4-1 to Villa, fair enough. We beat Ipswich 3-0. We drew Brighton 1-1. We beat Chelsea 2-0. We lost 1-0 at Arsenal, and we lost 1-0 at Everton. Now, I think out of how many games is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So out of 10 games, to lose 3, win 6, and draw 1 is really a drop off. I would argue that's not a drop off. I understand if you think so, but I think this thing about the drop off is just more because we lost our last 2 games, and I don't think it's actually relative to what happened, because I've just read out there the results, and from the cup final we won 4 in a row. So I think that's just where we are with that. I totally get the perception that it ended badly, because I suppose out of the last 4 games was only 1 win, which was the game against Chelsea, which we all knew was the really important one that was probably going to get us over the line, and it did. I think obviously everyone looking at Everton at home and thought we'd win that as well. We didn't. But no, so out the last 4 games, yeah, fair enough, only 1 win. But before that, apart from the Aston Villa 4-1 defeat, which kind of came out of nowhere, Newcastle won 5 of 6 matches. So I think the drop-off narrative around last season is wrong, because as I've just shown there, it wasn't actually the case. I think this season has been strange. We're somehow 6th, despite the fact that we haven't played very well. But the home form, that defeat to Manchester City on Tuesday, was the only defeat since Arsenal in September at home. The away form is massive concern. Let's not forget about that. So Trey, let's move on to some transfers then. Yeah, he doesn't give it. Yeah, that's fair enough about Isak. You needed to sign Gonzalo Ramos or Samu Aguero, not Visser when we sold Isak. Yeah, I appreciate that view. I think the way I see it is they signed Waldemar as the striker for the future. They signed Visser as the striker for right now to come in and hit the ground running and allow Waldemar to settle in and grow into the Premier League. And I think that was the exact plan. For example, that Wolves game, Waldemar's debut when he scored the header of the winner, I don't think he would have started if Visser had been fit. I think Johan Visser would have started that match, even though Visser had not done any pre-season, because that's just kind of the way it goes. Waldemar has ended up playing a lot more games than I think any of us were expecting him to. And Asula's injury is a problem as well. So that's sort of where I'm at with that one. Just feel as if realistically, we have been unlucky with Visser's injury because he did score a lot of goals last season, and he is more of an Isak type striker in the fact that I don't think the team would have had to really adapt too much to how to play with him. It would have kind of been plug in and play. And I think by now, if he'd been fit for the start of the season, I think he would have had over 10 goals, to be honest. Unfortunately, it's not worked out that way, and now he's playing catch up. And ultimately, we will judge on the price tag at the end of the season. If he ends the season with, say, 8 goals less, he's not worth a 55 million, is he? Because he's 29, he turns 30 at the start of next season. How many more years are we going to realistically get out of him? So that's where I'm at with the Visser situation. Trey, again, absolutely sound, this one. We need to build a ball retention team. If Walter is our number 1 striker going forward, and he's a striker and not a number 10, get Shearer in to show him how to stay in the box and positioning. Now, I agree. I think Walter has been signed with the idea that Newcastle are going to change the way that we play from that high intensity, high pressing, aggressive team. We will be that in moments, but we will also be, I think, a bit like Manchester City and a bit more like Arsenal in that sense. And yeah, we do need a striker like that. And I think Walter I'm not sure he's ever going to have that goal scoring instinct, because I think you've either got it or you haven't. But that doesn't mean he's not going to be a top player who, by the end of each season, will be involved in maybe 40 goals directly. And that is almost worth more than a striker who scores, say, 30, but is not involved in any of the others. So that's where I am with Walter. I understand some criticism of him, and I'm even criticising him a little bit myself, because I've said I think his level has dropped off. I think there has been some people who maybe have wrote him off even from the start and just didn't think he fit what we needed and what have you. And that now it's kind of like a case of like, I told you so, when that's not really fair on Walter. I think the pressure he was under, given the fact that Visser and Asula were injured, is immense. The goal contributions he's actually delivered have been top draw. As I've said, though, I'm a little bit concerned about his... There we go. Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Christensen. Yes, exactly. Walter's 10 plus goal contribution. Stop thinking he should score as much as Isak. Yes, exactly. I think Walter will overall, across the season, when we get him to the level he can clearly get to, he will be involved directly, goals and assists, across a whole season, around 40 times. And if he's doing that, that is actually worth more than someone who's going to score 30 goals, but then they're not involved in any other point in the game. That's just my opinion. Other people can disagree with it. So that's where I feel like we are with Walter. Now, I saw a good point here. Why doesn't he play the first 11 in the last 3 games together in pre-season? Okay, I mean, this is fair enough, Christensen. Like, in terms of goal, we go back to the start of the season. Pre-season, all I'd say about this is no team across the Premier League or Europe ever does this. They will, even in the last games, it's always mix and match, because it's about getting all the players to the same fitness level. And in training, they've been working on the ideas. Now, that's where I think I've been concerned with Alanga, because he joined at the start of pre-season, so he's had time to adapt and learn the style of play and learn what's expected of him, and it's just not happening. Basically, all of the other players came in right at the end of the window, so they're still learning. This has been injured. Of course, he's been training, he's been learning, and as I'm saying, he looks more of like a plug-in fit, I guess. So, and then Jake on about Walter. We won't see the best of him until next season. He has to adjust his game to match the pace of the Premier League, because he hasn't got any. Yes, he doesn't have any pace. He doesn't have any pace. However, does Harry Kane have any pace? No. Does Robert Lewandowski have any pace? No. Has Robert Lewandowski ever had pace? No. Has Harry Kane ever had pace? No. Did Wayne Rooney have much pace? I don't really remember him having much pace. Maybe he did, but I don't remember that. You don't need pace. Yes, the game's changed, but you don't need pace. What you need instead is a style of play that suits him, and we're not. And what baffles me sometimes is he comes on and with the ball through to him like he's Johan Visser or Isak. He's not. He's not going to get on the end of it, and it makes him look worse than he is because we're not playing to his strengths, just the ball into his feet and getting runners off him, and then he is always finds space afterwards. He might not get all the way into the box, in space, in and around the area where he can then lay off to someone else or have a shot. So we need to adapt to the way maybe we need to adapt to the way he plays. Now, I've got a good question from Aidbird here, and then another one about Semenyo. Look, Colton, totally, I understand this. What we'll say about Antoine Semenyo is I think he is a player who's played in the Premier League for a long time. He has developed his game to such a high level that he could have joined any team in the league in England and he'd deliver immediately. I think it's a case of what will happen actually in the end, which I don't want to see as a neutral. I do not want to see Antoine Semenyo coached out of everything that makes him good. I don't want to see that at all. I don't want to see what happened to Jack Grealish. I don't want to see what happened to Jeremy Doku initially. Seems like Doku's been given the freedom again, but initially Doku was told, no, we've got to keep possession, blah, blah, blah. It's boring. Let him be who he is. So I hope that happens to Semenyo as a neutral, as a football fan. And this one is interesting. Aidbird, if Real Madrid come in tomorrow with a 100 million bid for Bruno, would you accept it? I would not. What I would do instead is equally, it's from Real Madrid. I think that you're looking at the point of you probably wouldn't have too much choice. I think it'd be a case of bid comes in, 100 million on the table. Bruno is going to probably, I don't think he'd add a transfer request or whatever. He would make a play to the club to let him go for that amount of money to Real Madrid. And we would be all absolutely devastated and gutted, but we would wish him the best because he is a legend no matter what. Now, Jake saying our passing's has let us down all season, Jack. It has, mate. It has. The lack of control on the ball is a real problem. It's a real problem. And I don't necessarily get it because I think we're caught in the halfway house between what made us so good and then trying to adapt into a team that dominates the ball. But the problem we have is some of our players aren't good enough. So, for example, when Dan Burn is playing at centre-back rather than Botman, Dan Burn's a rock-solid defender, but he's not as good on the ball. He only plays the simple passes out. If Hall's playing at left-back, we're sound. If Tino Livramento is playing at right-back, we're fine. If Miley's playing at right-back, we're fine. If Trippier's playing at right-back, we're actually okay as well because he is good on the ball. It's just the other stuff that's gone for Trippier. Cha was good on the ball as well, but then the issue, it comes down to maybe a Joe Linton in midfield or an Alanga on the wing or a Murphy on the wing. Both wingers can't seem to pass the ball. At least Murphy can cross and is doing that. It seems that Alanga is, it feels like Alanga is not doing anything. And, that is where we're at. I mean, look, again, we bought for 55 million. Yeah, we did. And I thought it was a great signing. I would actually love to hear everyone's opinion on it. I would love to hear everyone's opinion on it because I thought at the start of the season, Alanga was a great signing. If anyone didn't and was worried about it, please let me know. But at the start of the year, this is totally, forget about what's happened. Start of the year, I was really happy with Alanga as a signing. I thought he was perfect for us. Equally, please let me know if not. Now, Kenny saying isn't Grealish have a 7th season? Yes, he's having a great season because he's been freed at Everton. And he's not under the shackles of what Guardiola wanted. And he's back to being the Grealish we want to see. So he is. And that is why. Yeah. No, look, I again, like I'm saying stuff like Bruno, I think he'd stay. And let's just have a look. So what else we got? Yeah, look, still bad saying I'm back. Hello, welcome back as well. Alanga needs a goal or two. It will kick him off. Yeah, I think I've not even seen him have a shot really, apart from against Villa on the opening day of the season. We went through 1-on-1. So we went through 1-on-1, and it was a good save. I didn't think he did much wrong. If that goes in, I think we're looking at a different Alanga. I really do. I think that we might be looking at Alanga, who's had a really good first half of the season. It just hasn't worked out, unfortunately, for him. And he does probably just need one to go in off his arse or something. I don't know, like just something to get him going. Or an assist for someone. He got that assist for Waldemar against Everton, was really good. And he's had one really good game, which was against Uncensored, where he just played as a proper winger. He got the ball. He knew he was quicker than the guy he was on against, which he is quicker than most players he plays against. He's burnt at the byline. He whipped it across. It wasn't always amazing. It wasn't always a brilliant cross, but he was taking him on. He was doing stuff, and that's what we need to see him do. And I think even if he does that, even if the crosses aren't good, I think we'll just see more from him. So I think that is where we are with that one. He did score in pre-season, didn't he? Yeah, he did. He did score in pre-season. It was a good goal as well. And it's a shame that it just hasn't worked out. And Laura is much more positive. So saying Alanga was a good signing, it just hasn't worked out yet. I am more than happy to subscribe to that. I want to believe that he is going to be good. I really, really, really do. And just a reminder, make sure you subscribe to the channel, smash that like button. Really helps us support the stream. Get involved in the live chat. We want to hear your thoughts. And by the way, you are all getting involved in the live chat, so this is brilliant. It's flying by. Don't forget to become a member. We had one member join at the start of the stream, which is brilliant. Really appreciate that. Of course, it's NTDV Plus for £4.99. Some members were refunded due to recent price changes. So if that applies to you, please consider rejoining. And supporting the channel continues us to deliver you daily Newcastle content. And then just a little my midstream plug. I've already seen a few people who are on this. Trey, Kenny, saw you comment on the latest Inside the Toon video. Really, really appreciate it. We've got another one. It's going to be weekly Inside the Toon now from talkSPORT. Hope I'm going to continue growing it as much as possible. So please check it out. For some reason, as I said, it's not really coming up on other people's algorithms. So just type in Inside the Toon and it comes up. It's talkSPORT's dedicated Newcastle YouTube show by Newcastle fans for Newcastle fans. We try not to lean into that sort of sensationalist whatever view. It's all about delivering content that we think Newcastle fans will like. Joined by Adam Cleary tomorrow, which is fantastic. Everyone knows him or not. Tactics Guru, 180,000 subscribers on YouTube, and he's a huge Newcastle fan as well, and he's a lovely lad. So please watch that one when it comes out, which will be tomorrow at some point. And then if anyone's on X or whatever as well, it would be great to follow me. That's my tag there, at JackCun96, and I'll follow people back as well, trying to get as much Newcastle traffic out there as possible. But yeah, that was just a little plug for me there. I see Gaz saying smash the likes for War Jackie. Thank you very much, Gaz. And Jake also saying that as well. So let's have a look ahead to Wolves. Injury news. Wolves have a few players out. They have Marshall Munetsi not available. Agbadu has just returned from the AFCON, so he might be available. He was in the Ivory Coast squad, so centre-back Agbadu. Apart from that, probably Wolves will basically have their full-strength team. Jorgen Strand-Larsen, who, of course, Newcastle chased all summer. We had 2 bids rejected for him. Has had a bad season. 1 goal in the Premier League, which came in a 3-2 defeat against Burnley. And he scored a hat-trick last week, actually, against the... Yeah, scored a hat-trick last week against Shrewsbury in the FA Cup. And thank you, Aidbird. Smash that like button. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. And the support from everyone on here. So, Strand-Larsen, in the end, well, he would have been fit, I suppose. So you could argue that we made a mistake not signing him over Visser. But I was never really sure about it. I thought it was maybe a a bit of a Michu season, I guess, where has a fantastic start, scores 14 goals in the Premier League. So I think in the end we've done fine avoiding that. I thought it was a lot of money for a player who, for me, there was a load of actual underlying numbers that made it look like he wasn't actually very good, and he's been dropped already. Tolu is starting over him. So, and I don't think Newcastle are in for him again. Wolves are willing to sell him, though, this January, and Nottingham Forest are the team who are interested. Again, that's according to my colleague at talkSPORT, Ben Jacobs. So that's how that's going for Strand Larson. So he'll probably be on the bench on Sunday. For some reason, it's the 4:30 game. I have no idea why it's the 4:30 game, but it is. So that is odd, but whatever. We are the big draw on Sunday, Wolves v Newcastle. We know our problems. We know that we're probably going to have no one back. So the question is, what team do you go for when you've got PSV in the Champions League on Wednesday, and then you have Aston Villa in the Premier League next Sunday? Now, ideally, we'd go into that Aston Villa game, off the back of, say... Well, thank you, Airbird. Some more likes. That's great. Really appreciate the support again. Thank you very much. So, if you look at the Aston Villa... Sorry, what was I talking about? Yeah, so if we've got the Aston Villa game and we've won against Wolves and we've won against PSV, that would be 6 wins out of 7 in all comps going into Aston Villa at home. That would be massive for us, I think, and would really give us a chance of going into that game and beating Aston Villa. And also, as Truls makes a good point here, we know, we've seen the fixture list. We have all seen the fixture list. It is, well, it's one of those, isn't it? I think if you think about what Newcastle have been for years, we've kind of dreamt of having sort of these moments where we get to play these sort of teams and have chances to win against these teams. Equally, it could go wrong. It could all go madly wrong. And we could be going into sort of March off the back of a lot of defeats out of the FA Cup, potentially out of the Champions League as well, and maybe a bit lower down in the Premier League. So it's one of those, I think you've got to go into it with optimism. You've got to go into it with excitement, because Newcastle usually are very strong in the second half of the season. And as I've said, form has been picking up. As much as the Manchester City game, the result was disappointing, I don't think the performance was that bad. So that's interesting. Now, this is interesting from Aidbird. He is saying, that's the wrong one, apologies. He is saying Ramsdale to start at Wolves, and he wants Hall in midfield. Now, youngster at left back. So, what are you saying, Alex Murphy? Because that's the only real youngster I can think of. If you're thinking Alex Murphy, that's fair enough. I've seen not enough from him to believe that he's going to be a Premier League footballer, but that's fair enough if you believe that. Now, my team, please feel free to put your teams in and disagree with me. I'm going to go Pope, Miley, Chow, Bottom, Hall, because there's not really much choice. So I'm going to go for that. I would go Tonali, Bruno, Ramsey. And I would go for... Oh, shared on Facebook. Who said that? So where's that? Nice one. Shared on Facebook. Well, thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Great stuff. And Trey, Jack, great getting our club out there and getting the fans' opinion. Oh, no problem. Thank you very much as well. So really appreciate, again, all of your comments. All your nice comments. You're all very, very kind and interactive, and it's really good as well. So yeah, that's great. Yeah. So that's my... So I'm going to go Ramsey. I'm going to go Bruno. I'm going to go Tonali as my midfield 3. I'm going to go Barnes on the left. I'm going to go Alanga on the right. You feel free to disagree with me. I'm going Alanga on the right. I think against a wing back, Wolves play back 3 against a wing back. I think finally we could see something from Anthony Elanga, and then I'm going to go for Waldemar up front. So that would be my team. And Colton as well, really nice comment as well. I like this chat. He gets to get involved with the chat, smash the like. Oh, well, thank you very much, mate. I really appreciate it. Again, honestly, really appreciate. No, not Kenny. Kenny, I did not say share. I said Chow, Botman, Hall. Unless I did say share, and if I did, I apologise. I did not mean share. I meant Chow, Botman, Hall, Miley, and then I'm going to go Tonali, Bruno, Ramsey, Barnes, Waldemar, Elanga. That's probably my team for this game on Sunday. I feel like that would give us the best back four we have available at the moment. And Trey's given his team as well. We will go through that in a minute, Trey. No problem at all. But I think at the moment that would give us our best back four. I think Tonali has showing a lot more signs of growing and developing and getting back to those levels that we've seen. I think certainly in a couple of games recently he's looked so much better. So Tonali, Bruno has been magnificent this season, unbelievable. The fact he's adding goals to his game, I absolutely love, and just the guy is fantastic. And as I said, I'm a huge Jacob Ramsey fan, and I think if we play him on the left in this game, I think we'll see him going on the underlap for Barnes, driving to the byline, getting in the box, and I'd back Ramsey to do well in this game. And I think Waldemar against the three Wolves centre-backs, as long as we can play to his strengths, we can get crosses at the box to him, into his feet, I think we can get the most out of Waldemar on. Then Elanga on that right against a wing-back, I think I would go with that as well. So, yeah. So, I saw Trey's team. So, Trey, you are going for... And sorry, it's not Trey, it's Trav. I really apologise. I've been reading that entirely wrong. So, Trav, sorry about that, mate. Pope, Trippier, Chow, Botman, Hall, Miley, Bruno, Joe Linton, Murphy, Barnes, and Waldemar. Now, the only issue I've got here is that Murphy's injured because he went off with a hamstring injury. So, yeah, I think he went off a hamstring injury. So, that's another reason I went for Elanga as well, to be fair. And Miley, I want him in midfield as well. I really do. But I just think Trippier, did you see when Semenyo at the end of the game walked past him? It looked like he was going backwards, the lad. Like, he's been excellent. What a signing. £12 million. What a signing. But his legs are not there anymore. Still got the technique. But he's not on the overlap anymore. It's not that Trippier we first signed, unfortunately. So, he's still a vital part of the dressing room, and he's still a good, very good Premier League footballer. He just hasn't got the physical attributes anymore. So that would be my only point. And again, Jake sharing things on Instagram, really appreciate that as well. Again, Trips and Tim. Hello, Tim. Nice to have you on. You welcome as well. If it's your first time joining the show, welcome. So hope you're well. I think Willock right wing will be a decent compromise. He's not the future, but can carry the ball well down the line and put in a good cross versus Marseille. He was really good against Marseille, you know. He was really good against Marseille on the right wing. That's probably been his best performance of the season, Joe Willock. So I'm not against that at all. Willock or Elanga on the right wing is more than a decent shout. So I'm fine with that, Tim. I think that's a decent one. And Colton, Bob. Yeah, I think Bob would be a great signing. Look, the lad has just come back from a broken leg. He has only played 10 games this season. I think it's no goals, no assists. It was mentioned in the chat yesterday. But he's a top footballer, you know. Can go both ways. Really good technique. Good movement off the ball. And Manchester City are going to leave him out of their squad, according to Fabrizio Romano, when the transfer window closes. So I think that is a great shout, Oscar Bob. And I don't know if they're going to address it now in January. I think Newcastle at the moment will be signing a centre-back and a left-back, I think, would be the order of the day for... But if you could get him on loan, then I don't see why not. So, and that's a great shout. That's a good one. So... And then we're seeing a few people saying, oh, will we ever see Midvabag Pivas? Yeah, I mean, probably not, no. Look, Newcastle have signed a lot of players, youth players, who we'll probably never ever see. I think a lot of them were signed to come in. We get the value up a little bit and we sell them on for profit. it's the way that clubs work now. It's a shame, but I don't think we'll ever see him. No, to be honest. So that's what I'm going for. That Truls, Port Miley, Chow, Botman Hall, Bruno, Big Joe, Tonali, Barnes, Waldemar, Langer. So yeah, okay, yeah. I'm so Miley right back, Chow, Botman Hall, Bruno, Big Joe. He's going for Big Joe over Ramsey. That's fine. So it's basically the same team for me, apart from you have Big Joe over Ramsey. And what I will say is Joe Linton's performances have massively improved in the last few weeks. Really seems back to the old Joe Linton that we all know and love. So I wouldn't be surprised if that is the team, actually. But I'm just saying I would play Ramsey because I think in a game like this, you probably need more Ramsey. So that's probably what I'm thinking. So that's fair. And Aidbird's given us his team as well. So Ramsey, Shahar. Well, that would be a turn up. Alex Murphy. All right, and Hall in midfield. Well, this is well, you've thrown some curveballs there. Fair enough. Okay, so Shahar has not played a Premier League game yet. I'm not sure he's going to get his Premier League debut, but he is a player that they rate really highly, and he might be on the bench. Alex Murphy, look, I've seen him a few times. I don't think he's at the level, to be brutally honest. I'm not sure he's going to make it. Probably a League One Championship player, but I don't think he'd be a Premier League player. I wouldn't be playing him there. However, I do get the idea of playing Lewis Hall in midfield because he is just a wonderful footballer and he can kind of play anywhere to an extremely high level. So I do get the idea of playing Hall in midfield. And then I think everyone's basically got the same front three so far of Barnes, Alanga, and Waldemar. It does feel like Alanga does need a chance in this game. So, apparently Shahar's been injured. Sometimes you don't even know about these youth players and stuff, but thank you to Coin of Phrase. Thank you very much on that one. Yeah, so I think in terms of the team, that's probably what I'm looking at for the team. And then we have PSV on the Wednesday. If we get a win there, we've got 13 points in the Champions League. Probably, well, we're guaranteed a playoff spot. We could still even finish in the top 8 if we go to PSG and get something, then we could still finish in the top 8. I don't think we will. I think we'll get a playoff spot. And that, if you offered me that at the start of the Champions League campaign, I would have took it. Now, Geordie Dan is asking what happened to Sung Soo Park. Yes, he looked very good in the pre-season, didn't he? Very lively in a lot of games. I just think it's a case of with him, I would be expecting not to see him until properly maybe sort of the next season, probably. We're at the point where a lot of our players are better on the left, and that is also his position. So yeah, I think that's where we are probably with Park. Again, he might be a player who unfortunately never actually we see properly, and we end up selling on for whatever amount of money. I don't know. It's a fair. Kenny's made a fair point as well in the sense of I've not really seen him score goals or do much in the under-21s, so he's probably not doing that well. But I do agree he did look good in pre-season, so I think it's a fair point to ask where he is, certainly. And that's just where we're at. And again, there's Darren saying there as well about the under-21s. And yeah, they keep changing the managers, don't they? So like that's where they are, and they don't keep changing the manager. It's a bit pointless, isn't it? Consistently, it's not gonna help if we keep changing the manager. Under-21s football is so strange because you actually get much better experiences going out on loan and playing either in non-league or League One, League Two. You get some because it's proper football. Like it's too passive in under-21s. It's too easy. There's not enough aggression. It's not like playing with blokes. That's why you're starting to see a lot more players come from non-league and make it in the Premier League. Dan Burn, Antoine Semenyo, for example, big physical players who've come up through the leagues and have earned it and they've got their spot in the Premier League on merit. And they've done it through doing that. So I think under-21s football is a bit of a load of rubbish, to be honest. I think that you send players out on loan. That's actually the best way. Hugh, guys, and welcome as well. He's gone for Rammers, Murphy at right back. Okay. Chow, Botman, Trips at left back. Miley, Ramsey, Willock, Gordon, Alanga, Visser. Okay. So no Bruno Ottonali in the team. No Joe Linton in the team either. So that is, you know what? Fair play. This what I love about this is just the total different viewpoints of like even team news there. I mean, that is not a team I was expecting to see, but I appreciate it. Look, I'd get the point about maybe Wolves putting 2 on Walter because they play back 3. I do get that, to be fair. That's not a bad shout. But I was not expecting that team, but fair play. So yeah, look, that's another. I'm seeing a point about Alex Murphy. Yeah, look, when Hall's injured, we end up playing Dan Burn at left back, and that's cost us, I would say, 6 points this season. I think 6 points. Yes, he scored that unbelievable header against Athletic Bilbao, and I mean, what a goal that was. But that's where we are with Dan Burn at left back. But then West Ham at fault for 2 goals. Brentford gets sent off absolutely all over the place against Dango Ouattara. That was on Eddie. Should have took him off when he got booked, of course. But whatever. Still, just not. It's just not there. Lizzie, Dan Burn at left back. And then the fact that Alex Murphy's not getting games when Hall's out, but Dan Burn's there. Yeah, it shows that they don't really do. And I'm seeing a question from Adrian here about my assessment of Shawler's work on loans. It's not great, is it? There's a lot of loan moves that haven't worked out. There's a few that have. Yankuba's Minters springs to mind. Of course, we never got to see him in a Newcastle shirt, but his loan move massively worked out. Antonio Cadera's hasn't worked out. He's gone to another team. Graham Kuol was a player that it just never worked out for him wherever he went. So it's not great, is it? It's not great. It could be better. It could be a lot better. I get. He's obviously trying his best and doing what he can, but we need a bit more from Shawler on that one, I feel. And quick reminder, like and subscribe, get involved in the chat, which you all have been. Yeah, Cordero. I mean, is that his name? If I've said his name wrong, let me find out if I've got his name wrong. Antonio. Sorry, just give me a minute. Type his name in. Yeah, Antonio Cordero. Newcastle signed him in the summer. And the fact that you don't know who he is, Kenny, probably shows you how well he's done. Yeah, Newcastle signed him in the summer. A 19-year-old Spanish lad. And he's out on loan. So he's gone back out on loan. His first loan did not move at all. So yeah, that's where we are. Jake has given us his team for Wolves. Pope, Harman, Chow, Miley, Jolinton, Ramsey, Bruno Barnes, Visser, Neve. All right. Okay. So again, Shahar's in the team again, and then we got Neve in the team as well. Like, think what we'll say about Sean Neve is from everything I've heard about him, they do believe that he might be a player who does actually make it as a Premier League striker. So they're very excited about him. I'm excited about him as well. But I think I'm not expecting to come in for a Premier League debut, but again, I appreciate this is the team you want to see. So yeah, totally. And I'd like to see him as well. I just think that, unfortunately, if we're not if in the FA Cup we hadn't shown Bournemouth at home in the third round and then Villa away in the fourth round, you probably would get a chance to see a Sean Neve play some minutes. But yeah, no, like. But I hope we see him next season because he is really young. So I hope we get to see him next season, definitely. So Rockstar says, is it time to change formation? Look, I think that the 4-3-3 has worked for a long, long time. The issues with the 4-3-3 are also kind of the biggest strengths with the 4-3-3 because you have midfielders who all do the defensive work. They all go forward as well, but that means that there's no one sitting, and that's why that we sometimes get exposed really easily with a ball through the middle. So that's why I say with that. Equally, we do play back three relatively often. We can't at the moment. We haven't got the centre backs, but look at the start of the season, a few times last season, near the end of the year as well. We did change to a back three. So there are different formations for different games, but the 4-3-3 is here to stay as long as Eddie Howe is the manager because it suits our squad the most in my view. And Darren saying I thought Joe White would make it. Yeah, again, it's hard to tell with these players. You know, they look good and they look good sometimes, and then they just never do it. They're still obviously very, very good footballers and will have successful careers in the EFL. But to be a Premier League footballer, we are talking about you're in the top 0.1% of footballers in the world. Realistically, you are genuinely that good to play in the Premier League, and some of them just aren't, unfortunately. And it is the way it is. But I hope he does. I wish him luck on loan at Bradford City. I hope he does well. Apparently, Kenny's saying Neve injured, and Colton's saying who's Neve? That's fair. He's a young striker. They've got he actually got a cup medal. Colton. He was on the bench for the cup final, so he did get a medal. So, and have we conceded 11 in 3 games? What was it? 3 against 3, 8 in 3 games, which isn't great, let's be honest. At home, fair enough, not great at all. Before that, 1 clean sheet against Palace, and then the goal we conceded to Burnley. So, yeah. It's the defense. It's more that I don't blame the back four as such. I think it's the overall defensive structure, and that comes from that flat midfield three, whereby, as I said, it's the biggest positive and it's the biggest negative. So it is where we are with that one in my and at the moment. You know, Malik Chow has played 27 games in a row, I believe, and I haven't got it right here right now. I can easily check, but I'd be pretty convinced he's played 90 minutes in basically all of them, apart from that Leeds match where he got hooked at half time because he was having a bit of a stinker. And I think Botman looked much better. Yeah, I think Botman looked much better actually against Manchester City. Thought it looked much more like the old Sven Botman of old. Thought it was rock solid at the back. Distribution was good as well. And if we can get that level of Botman back, then that is a 60, 70 million pound centre-back right there who we have just signed under a new contract. So let's just hope Botman stays at those levels. I thought he was better than Chow against Man City, to be fair. Now, this is Jordy Yam Yam's team for Wolves. He's gone for Sahara right back as well. He's gone for... Is that... I'm confused. I'm confused at the... has he got... We only seen playing one centre-back. He's got Ramsdale in goal. And... Okay, that team has confused me. We've got Ramsey, I assume. Yeah, I assume that's Ramsdale. Chow, Hall, Bruno, Miley, Tonali, Barnes, Alanga, Willock, Walter, Messi. I think we're missing a centre back there, but that's absolutely fine. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, Dubs has a medal from Manchester United. He does indeed. Yeah, Jake, this is a good point. Yeah, the back three. The back three for Newcastle will work when we can field the back three of, in my opinion, the way the back three would work would be if it was Botman in the middle. Botman is the centre one. I think you'd have Cher at the left-sided one. You'd have Chow as the right-sided one. Tino and Hall. And then midfield two, almost certainly of Bruno and Tonali. And then on the left, you could have Barnes or Gordon. And on the right, you could have Murphy or Alanga. And I think that's where the back three would work. I think whenever we've played it, we probably haven't quite had the right players, especially at wing back. I can't remember Hall or Tino starting in the same games when we played as a wing back. So that's why I agree with that. I agree with that one, to be fair. Yeah, I thought you meant No, I thought you meant Ramsdale. Don't worry about that. I knew what you meant on that one. And no, not at all. You missed Botman's fine, but it's not a problem. It's just you putting your team out there. It's not an issue at all. And got about 15. No, actually, how long we got? About 15 minutes left, yeah, I'd say. And just want a quick reminder, like and subscribe, get involved in the chat. You all have been. It's been great. Really enjoyed all of the comments. Again, flying by these shows at the moment. Join ATTV Plus for £4.99 for full member access. And if you were refunded recently, please make sure you have rejoined. And then again, please check out Inside the Toon on the talkSPORT, the latest ones on the talkSPORT Newcastle YouTube channel. Please subscribe to that as well, which we're trying to grow the channel. Well, I'm trying to grow the channel as much as I can. So please do that. And then, yeah, if you are on X or whatever, drop me a follow at JackCun96 there. I say X, it's Twitter, right? It's Twitter. But if you are on Twitter, that'd be great. And just drop me a follow on that. That'd be fantastic. But yeah, again, with the Inside the Toon, yeah, weekly Newcastle show from talkSPORT by Newcastle fans. And yeah, it'd be great if you could give it a watch, because I want to keep bringing it to you, but I need views from my boss. So please do it for me. That'd be brilliant. No, yeah, as I say, yeah, sort of just having a look how long got left. Say 15 minutes or so, and then that I'll probably be moving on. But again, really appreciate you all tuning in and watching. And it's coming up to a huge period of time for Newcastle. As I say, we had the disappointment of the Carabao Cup, and it was very disappointing. But equally, look, it is still going. It's still going. Yeah, we are doing what we can now. Apologies, I've just had a yeah. Please, Colton. Yeah, please subscribe. I haven't got my own YouTube channel, but you know I'm more than happy to just be on this. Really thanks to Chris for giving me the opportunity, and really thank you for all of you for making the show. It would just be me talking for an hour and a half on my own otherwise. So thank you for actually getting involved with it as well. And yeah, but Colton, yeah, it's just the talks, but it's just type in talkSPORT Newcastle. It's on there. You can subscribe to the channel. And as I say, you go on videos, the latest Inside the Toon should be on there. So that'd be brilliant if you could give it a watch. But yes, Trav, you're saying when Ramsey plays, when you move to a 4-2-3-1. Yeah, I thought that as well. I thought that Ramsey would be that creative midfield that would be calling out for, because at Aston Villa, he sort of was. And that's one of the reasons I like him so much, because he's so good at picking up little pockets of space, like in between the defence, and then threading balls through that are going to break the lines and getting in the box and getting on the end of things. And when we're playing him a bit deeper, and he's still very good. He is still very good. I thought against Manchester City he was brilliant. I really thought he was excellent. I thought he had maybe a rough 5 minutes at the start. He lost the ball 1 or 2 times, and after that I thought he was excellent until he came off. Like, really good tackles all over the pitch, reading the game really well. Didn't misplace a pass basically after the first 5 minutes. After that it was all, and most of it was forward, crisp, getting in the box, no one finding him. So that's where I am with Jacob Ramsey. I think he will still turn out to be a very, very good player for Newcastle, and eventually he will be starting basically every game. And as I said, I would definitely be starting him on Sunday. But if he doesn't start on Sunday, he's got to start Wednesday. You know, there's no way. And would you then start him against Aston Villa as well, against his old former club? I probably would. I don't think Howe will, but I probably would. So it's just one of those things that he's a player where if we are going to move to a more possession-based, better passing team, then Ramsey is an upgrade on Joe Linton, even though Joe Linton has massively improved in recent weeks. So yeah. And we've got from Trav, who you think we need to sign? Yeah, not Scalvini. Look, clearly a class footballer. Genuinely, clearly a class footballer. But his injury record is unbelievable. 16 separate injuries according to Transfermarkt. So some of them they do group together, but he's only 21 and he's had an ACL, he's had a big shoulder injury. The best ability is availability, as Malik Chow is showing, and as Fabian Schär has shown for years and years and years as well. And Dan Burn, to be fair, Dan Burn's injury at the moment is not that's nothing to do with his body. He was just in a bad tackle. So yeah, that's where I am at with that one, Scalvini. Vitali, I don't know a lot about. I've seen videos, I've seen a lot of praise about him. He clearly looks like a player who's got something, a backup left back, which he could be, and he could be a player who can play centre back as well. So I would be going for him. And apparently, according to Craig Hope, Newcastle will make a move. Raihan is an interesting one. That Brazilian guy, according to again my colleagues of talk. It looks like that Bournemouth are stepping up interest in him to replace Antoine Semenyo, which again, if Bournemouth are signing him, we should be all over that because they're a team who don't really miss with transfers. So yeah, I think that as well. And yeah, Jake, good point here. We've got Craftburn and Nasula coming back end of Jan. We cannot go this window without signing our tip. Totally agree. I think it would be, it would be one of those whereby we'd be letting ourselves down. I think we'd be setting ourselves up for failure in the second half of the season. And if we then didn't deliver what we wanted to, I think Eddie Howe would have a right to point out the fact that, but in January I had 4 fit defenders and you didn't sign a defender for me. So I think that would be fair. Aid, when are you next on? Jack, brilliant show. Oh, well, thank you very much. You've been great as well. You've been heavily involved in the chat. And I'm next on next week at some point. Now, I can't remember when it is. I know one of them is on Thursday because I'm off that day. I will just try and find out when I am on for you next. Give me a minute. Apologies. So 12 p.m. next day, we'll be reflecting on Wolves. And yeah, we're reflecting on Wolves. And then Thursday at 12 p.m. as well, we'll be reflecting on PSV. And got a question here. How did I get involved with TalkSport? Yeah, I had a trial March 2022 on the website. I was an SEO writer. I got the trial after 2 days. They said, "Do you want to stay?" I said yes. So I'm still on the. I'm still a writer. I'm still on the website. But then in the last sort of, I started going on TalkSport 2 years ago, sort of literally every month, 15 minutes talking about Newcastle. Then just from there, the producer likes you. They tell other people in the building about who you are, what you're doing. And then it's sort of grown from there. And now, as I said, got a Newcastle show going, which is brilliant every week now as well, which is even better. We've got 2 episodes this week, so that's even better as well. And then I'm on the Sports Bar every night as well, Monday to Thursday with Jamie O'Hara and Jason Cundy. I'm on various other shows across the time. I'm very fortunate to do what I do. I'm very lucky to do what I do, but it wouldn't happen without a lot of support from a lot of great people at work and a lot of other people who have pushed me on, and also from me being persistent. So I think that's the key thing. Now, I'm being asked about Mike Graham. I didn't meet him, so we'll just leave it at that. I didn't meet him. We'll just leave it at that. This is a good one from Indica from Roma. That's a good shout. I like Kevin Indica. He's a good player. Roma are having a good season under Gasperini, but Evan Indica is a player that Newcastle have watched and been linked with before, I believe. So I see no reason why we couldn't go in for him. I think the signing, for me, if it is going to happen, it shouldn't be a short-term option. It should be thinking long-term about, okay, we need a Dan Burn replacement, we need a Fabian Schär replacement. That sort of level of top young centre-back if we're going to make the January signing. So I definitely agree with this suggestion here. Yeah, it's got about 5 minutes or so left, and then I will let you all get on with the rest of your days. Hope hope you have brilliant days, whatever you end up doing. Of course, just a quick reminder to like and subscribe, as always. And make sure you subscribe, hit that like button, comment below if you're watching back as well, and join NTTV Plus for £4.99. As I say, this is gonna be every 2 weeks. It'll roughly be the normal time. Oh, thank you very much, Laura. Thank you very much, Laura. That is a super chat from Laura. Really appreciated. Massive thank you. Really, really appreciate that. I'm pleased you enjoyed the show, and I'm pleased you enjoyed the content. And I suppose that everyone else who's watching or what have you, if you know other Newcastle fans who might be interested, please let them know about it. Get them watching along. As you can see, I do try and talk and comment and speak to everyone as much as I possibly can be. So, yeah, please as well. Yeah, as I say, if you do know other people, just get them on, and get them involved, get them watching along. And that would be great as well. As I say, really enjoying all the interaction. Darren saying great show. Thank you very much, Darren. Really appreciate. Colton, thank you as well. Really appreciate it as well. That is all very, very good comments. The feedback since I have joined has been excellent, and but again, it wouldn't be anything without you all. And again, I am now in London as well. So if anyone lives in London these days and goes to the Dolphin, which is the Newcastle United Supporters Club, I am going to be there. Probably more from February onwards. January is. I'll be honest, it's a struggle getting to my next paycheck because I had quite a heavy Christmas at home. So, but once that's done, I'll be back in the Dolphin watching Newcastle games. So come along and check it out. And Aidbird saying, keep it up, catch you on the next one. Yeah, it'd be great to have you along again. As I said, just keep coming along. And again, if you know anyone else who wants to, with the Newcastle fans, let them know about it. Bring them along as well. The more, the merrier. That would be brilliant. Thank you all for your wonderful interactions this afternoon. I love these chats, these conversations. We have covered a lot of ground. I think we've previewed Wolves really well. There's been some interesting team selections, which I've enjoyed as well. Geordie Dan, thank you very much as well. But I am going to I'm going to leave you all now. Thank you once again. Although, however, I do have one more thing from Trav, and let's address that then. Trav, you've thrown it in, and I'm not gonna just leave it. So, why do we always be in PSR trouble? As Eddie said in his interview, we just sold one player for 125 million. PSR is anti-competition rule that needs to be scrapped. Fans are tired of this. In my view, this is how being clever with the media. I don't think we are in PSR trouble. All of the indicators from Kieran Maguire, and who's football finance expert, suggest that we could spend 150 million in January and be absolutely fine. So it's just how being clever with the media. He knows in the summer we probably overpaid. Ross Wilson knows we overpaid as well. There's going to be a change of tack in transfers from now on, and that is what I think it is. So, Trav, again, thank you very much. You've been really interactive, so appreciate all of your comments as well. Appreciate everyone's comments as well. And I'll be back on Tuesday to reflect on Wolves, where hopefully we've made it 4 wins in a row. Enjoy the rest of your days. Have brilliant weekends. Hi, the lads. Yeah, I appreciate that it's not actually gone off yet. There's a technical issue. It is finished, but I can't leave at the moment. I need Chris to come and save it.